Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about reality, quantum reality, and how it impacts you and how you can use that information to your best advantage. Hi, I'm Joe Shepard, and this is Fractal Realms. Okay, so we're going to be talking about reality, and there's some questions, specific questions I would like to answer, and that is, where is reality and what is reality? I would like to ask you to work through a mental example with me. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine yourself drifting up off the ground, and you drift up into the sky. So now you see the ground below you, and now you drift above that, and you're drifting into space, and you see the planet below you, and now you see the moon below you, and now you see our whole solar system below you, and you keep on drifting up and up and up, and now you see the Milky Way, the entire galaxy, and you keep going, and now you see all the other galaxies, the millions of other galaxies that are all around you, and you keep on going, you keep going up, and you find yourself drifting through clouds of dust that are not yet made into a planet yet, and you go up and up, and you keep drifting and drifting and drifting. Now, do you think that there's a point at which you suddenly hit a dead end where you can't go any further? There's a wall, like somebody put a brick wall and said, here's the end of the universe. Probably not. Science does suggest to us that the universe is a round spherical shape, but they only know that, and they only suggest that because that's as far as they can see with their telescopes. That doesn't make it a fact. That just makes it we're incapable of finding anything further than that because of the speed of light and things like that. So if you can't go any further in that direction, or rather you can go further in that direction, you can keep going in that direction, and you can imagine reality going on and on and on and on and on. It's never going to stop. And what if you turn around and you look in the other direction, and you fly off in that direction, and you go on and on and on and on, and no matter which direction you go, do you think there's ever going to be a dead-end sign that says you can't go any further? Well, if infinity lies out from you in all directions, and then just by basic math, if existence goes out in all directions equally, or all around you, that means you are at the center. You're at the center of that. So, based on that thought process, you are at the center of your reality. Okay, so we know where you are in reality. You are at the center of reality. And you may have many realities that you exist on in any given day. I'm not the same person when I'm at work. I interact at a different level and a different perspective. I'm not the same person when I'm sitting around with friends watching a football game or having a beer. I'm not necessarily existing in the same framework of reality when I'm on vacation. All those different circumstances put me into a different world whatsoever, completely. So now we know where you sit in reality. Now let's move on to talk about where is reality. So these examples that I'm using, they're not examples that I've channeled or that I made up as I'm going along. These are examples that I've gotten from other authors. So in this one, I would like to ask you, do you see me? Now I'm going to imagine that you said yes, unless you have vision problems and you're just listening to me, and I mean no offense. but I'm going to assume you said yes, you see me, or you hear me. So where do you see me, or where do you hear me? Okay, if you answered my question, I'm going to suggest that you probably said I see you on my phone, I see you on my computer, I see you on my laptop, I see you on Fractal Realms, I see you right over there. So that's just not true at all. None of that is true. Okay, why? Because where you're seeing me is in the back of your head. Your light, energy particles are hitting your eyes. Your eyes have lenses in them that bring the particles into a certain focus onto the back of your eye, and that eye transmits, and that retina transmits images, or it translates the things that it sees around you into something you think is an image, but really it's just a bunch of electrical impulses. So basically, everything you sense, everything you feel, everything you've ever known, everything you've ever seen has been these electrical impulses that hit your body, that and in different forms of energy, and you have senses that collect that information and translate it into something that you make into an image. And that image tends to define the reality as you recognize it. So never at any time in your life have you ever actually experienced or felt anything outside of yourself. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything that you've ever experienced has been somewhere, it's been electrical impulses that you've concocted into an image of what's around you and the reality that you interact with. So, that being the case, so where is reality? We know where your place is in reality is that you're at the center. Now, where is reality itself? Reality is not out here. Reality is somewhere here. It's somewhere, it's being absorbed in here, and your consciousness, wherever that sits, is creating this whole reality around you. Finally, let's take a look at what science says about reality. And now I'm going to use two different related scientific examples. One is going to be the double slit experiment, and the other is going to be Schrodinger's cat. And so I'm not a physicist. I'm going to do my best to try to explain it to you. But I'm also going to put links down below, and I urge anybody watching this video that doesn't understand what those experiments are to please click on those links and take the time to find out, because either of these ideas, the double slit experiment in particular, or Schrodinger's cat, are life-changing. Once you understand this and you can internalize it and say, wow, this is true. This is fact. This isn't science fiction. It isn't some philosophical mumbo-jumbo, but fact. So in the double slit experiment, I'm going to set my glasses down. I had them in my hand. In the double slit experiment, I don't know the name of the scientists. I can probably look that up for you, but I'm sure we'll get there in the links. But what they do is they take a pattern with two slits in it, and they put a sensor behind those two patterns. And they're going to launch ping pong balls at this first pattern with the two slits in it, and the sensor in the back is going to indicate to them where the ping pong ball hit the pattern. And so that experiment begins, and they get nice, well-defined lines on the back pattern, because as these ping pong balls make it through the slit in this double slit experiment, well, they're going traveling in a straight line, so they really have to hit in a very well-defined spot on the back. that was sort of cut and dry. But then they tried the same experiment using fluid, using water. I'm not sure what fluid was, I guess water. And what they found sort of was amazing, because as the water comes through the two double slits, unlike the ping pong ball that travels in a straight line, the fluid travels in a ripple that ripples out. And so the fluid that's going through the one opening in the double slit and the fluid that's going through the other opening in the double slit start to hit into each other. Okay? And so when you have these impact points on the sensor in the back, I keep going like this thinking you can see my hand, but then I look at my camera. I'll have to go like this. I look at my camera, you can't see it. I'll back up a little bit. Okay, so getting back to the experiment. So they get a wave pattern on the back. On that sensor in the back, they get many points of impact. They still get very well defined points of impact, but it's no longer one and one like it was with the ping pong balls. It's many because of all the ripples that are interacting with each other. All right, I hope that's clear, because now's the shocker, because they turn around and they try to do that by shooting electrons at it. Now the expectation is that by shooting the electrons at this pattern, they're going to get the same as shooting the ping pong balls at the pattern, because this is a well-defined particle and they're shooting it through the double slit, and it should have only one path that can allow it to hit the sensor in the back. But they didn't get the same kind of pattern that they got from the ping pong balls. They got a wave pattern, which is completely confusing. How can these particles be interacting? In order to get that wave pattern, the particles coming in to each side, well, the way it works with the wave is that the particles come on each side, the ripples hit each other, and it creates a very diverse set of markings on the back. With a molecule or an atom, you're shooting two particles traveling in a straight line. How can they interact with each other to create a wave pattern on the back? So that was confusing to the scientists at the time. And you know what? I'll look up when this was done, so even if you don't follow my links and follow a better explanation than I'm giving you, you can still go ahead and grasp why this is so important. I'll look it up, but I think these experiments happened in 1920 or thereabouts. So that's one of the reasons why I find this so interesting. Something that happened that long ago, you would think every grade school student would know this, and that it wouldn't be so distant from everyday understanding of our universe. But so the next step that they did, they tried to understand why they were interacting. So the next thing they did was they shot one particle at a time. They didn't just go bam, 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 bam. They did bam, bam. And what, by doing that, in their minds, they eliminated every possibility, every possible way that these particles could be interacting with each other, because there's only one there at a time. There's nothing to interact with. And they still got the wave pattern on the back. So now they're completely confused, because that doesn't make any sense. And so they put a monitoring device on it where they could tell now, they could decide which of these two double slits did the molecule actually fly through, and what the heck is it doing that it's giving them a wave pattern. And the minute they put that monitoring device on it and began to observe what was going on at the slit itself, all of a sudden, bam, they got a pattern on the back wall that was more like the ping pong ball pattern. The wave pattern disappeared, and now that they're observing it, all of a sudden they've got a pattern that's just two lines on the back. Took the camera away, repeated the experiment, they get waves, a wave pattern. Put the the monitoring device back in place, they get a straight pattern. And what they realized, oh, I'm so sorry that's so much to lay on you. I hope you watch the video because they're going to tell it a lot easier than what I'm doing, a lot better, more well defined. It's going to be a cartoon and it's very easy to understand. But what they realized is that until our universe is being observed or measured or monitored, it doesn't actually exist. It's just a wave of infinite possibilities. Every possibility that could exist does exist until someone actually monitors and interacts with it. At what point it's called collapsing the wave. And at that point, when you collapse the wave, then you're involved with one specific path of reality. Up until that point, there's an infinite reality that, in fact, there's every reason to believe all the infinite realities still exist beyond that. It's just that you're only picking up on one of them because you're monitoring. Okay. The way that's going to impact thinking about manifestation when we get to that video is that you're going to realize that all these little exercises that you're doing convince your mind that this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. You're actually forming, that reality is forming in your mind and it's being created around you. So manifestation, whether they call it manifestation, older term would just be, say, goal setting. That's for real, and it's got scientific support to back it up. The other experiment I'd like you to take some time to look into is Schrodinger's cat. Now, what Schrodinger did was he said, all right, so we know if we can't monitor a thing, while we're not monitoring it, it is infinite possibilities. So what he proposed in this thought experiment is you put a cat in a box, in a sealed box. It's a metal box, heavy box. You don't know what's going on inside that box. And in that box, you put something that could kill it. And I think he proposed some kind of radioactive atom, but let's say it was a bomb. Say it's a bomb, and the bomb is set to explode, but you don't know when. The timer is completely random. So you close the box and the cat's in the box. Well, because you're not monitoring it and you don't know whether the bomb's going to go off or not, you now are in a situation where what's in that box is infinite possibility. So that cat in that box can only be in two states. He can either be alive or he can be not alive. And in a situation of infinite possibilities, he is alive and he is not alive. The bomb went off, the bomb didn't go off. That is the infinite possibilities of what's happening in that box at that point. When you open the box and collapse the wave, suddenly you know now you're walking down a pathway in reality where the cat lived. Or you're walking down a pathway of reality where the cat didn't live. And so, but either way, both those paths exist in a world of infinite possibility. So, the way that really comes down to being about manifestation and how you can move from one reality to another reality, how you actually do move from one reality to a reality all day long. And so, until next time, thank you very much. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already.